guys, Lori here. I'm back to start another reading vlog. It is July 2nd. So I actually did get a bunch of reading done today. I listened to a couple of chapters of Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. We finally got to see Dorian again, which I'm so excited about. I listened to a couple of chapters from Geekerella, and I'm actually going to read a couple of more. And I don't normally do this, but I am definitely going to revise my rating for one of the books that I read this year that I originally gave a 5-star, and that was Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. But I'm actually going to bump it down a little bit to a 4-star. It was a while since I read Geekerella, but that book just so captured me in a way that Princess and the Fangirl didn't. I like that book. I enjoyed it, but the romance just wasn't as compelling. And I think it was because there was two romances that were fighting for attention, and I wasn't as connected to those characters. Still a very good story, but I think that's not a 5-star read for me. It's only like a 3.5, 4-star read, but I still really enjoyed it. I also did wind up going to Barnes & Noble with my mom. We have a bunch of bridal shower errands to run for my cousin who's getting married in November, so I had to do a bunch of errands for that. But we did wind up going to Barnes & Noble, and I did wind up picking up The Babysitter's Club, Christie's Great Idea, which is a graphic novel. I did get book 4, I think, from BookCon because the author was there buying. This is adapted by Rhea Telgemeier, who writes all those big graphic novels. The one that I have isn't from her, but I wanted to get this, and I actually did wind up finishing it. And I actually really liked it. I really loved, this was probably one of my favorite book series as a kid, like when I was like 6, like between 6 and like 11. I think I read them all. I really loved it. I love how they're getting adapted in a different format. I know that there's going to be a Netflix series out. And I know that all of the Babysitter Club books are going on Audible, which I think is awesome. So I want to pick reading this and reading this. It's actually a really, really fast read. It's only like 200 pages. So I definitely would like to get the other 3 and then pick up the one that I actually do have on my shelf. But this was number 1. So, and then I wound up picking up Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuestion. I've heard so many good things about this book. But I know that it says, what happens when America's first son falls in love with the Prince of Wales? I know that this is definitely a new adult or an adult novel, but it just sounds so cute, and I'm really excited. I know Super Space Chick has loved it. I know Alexa Love Books has adored it. So this is definitely one that I hope to tackle this summer, and I did wind up finishing this one, which is really exciting. And then I am a part of the TBR and Beyond Reading Challenge, Summer Bash, I think it's called, or Beach Bash or something. So I rolled my dice, and the prompt that I got chosen was summer. And this book doesn't take place only over the summer, but I always read a Casey West book in the summer. So I wound up picking up Maybe This Time by Casey West. This book is actually really interesting, and I really do like the premise. It's definitely hate to love, but it follows this girl named Sophie, and it basically is a different setup because you basically follow this character over the course of 9 events over the course of a year. So you follow her and her potential love interest through 9 events, and it's so fun because then you just kind of like check in, and it's like mini chapters or mini sections of the book, and each section of the book, let's see if I can find one, starts off with like the event and then a flower that is connected. But Sophie is this girl. She's really into art. She's hoping to be a fashion designer one day, but she's working as an assistant to like the floral lady. And that's kind of her thing. And then the boy, or her potential love interest, her best friend, works as a caterer, and her dad is being mentored by this very, very popular chef. So his son is always there, and that's the pairing. But I'm actually really enjoying it. I love books that have like a unique setting or like a unique plot structure, just because I think that like you read so many contemporary set over the summer. So I like books like last year I really liked Save the Date by Morgan Matson, because that was set over like 3 days. There's a couple other ones that were so unique, but I really am enjoying this one. This book is definitely love to hate. I'm about 150 pages in, and I hope to tackle a little bit more tonight. But yeah, that's my update for today. That was a kind of a long update, but I had a lot to share. So I might update you guys later if I make a lot more progress on this. But right now I'm actually really enjoying it. It's definitely not my favorite Casey West book, but the structure is definitely bumping it up a few stars for me. So I'll give you guys my thoughts later in the night about my thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. I'm outside again because it's a very, very nice day. And I've actually got a lot of reading done today, which is actually so exciting. I made a lot more progress on Geekerella by Ashley Poston. Oh my god, I'm loving being back in that book. I love those characters so much. I love Darian and I love Elle so much, and I'm just really enjoying it. I also read a little bit more of Empire of Storms, which I'm really enjoying, and I wound up finishing Maybe This Time by Casey West. I really did like this book. The one thing I loved about this book, and I think I said this, I can't remember if I was doing a read if my thoughts on The Distance Between Us is in one of my reading vlogs, but when I was reading it, and this was like one of the first books she wrote, I remember wishing that like her secondary characters were a little bit more like developed, and I wish that the friendship was really a focus, and it really wasn't. This book was the opposite. I think the one thing I really liked about this book is that it took place over the course of like a year. And it basically followed this character named Sophie, and you saw her throughout the year at these different events, and her potential guy was always there. So it kind of followed them. You have to check in with them. But I like that it was like a long term story. It definitely was more of like, there was a lot of friendship in this, both between the male and her best friend. So I like slow burn stories. I like a long burn romance because I think it's a lot more realistic. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was but the structure really, really worked for me. This was definitely love to hate. I also really like books that have like a job component, like if they're like a wedding planner and they work in like a store, because I think it's just the structure of it's really, really interesting. She's also an artist, so I like seeing that. And I just really liked it. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm definitely excited to see what she writes next. I would love a book following her best friend, Micah, because she was really, really fun, and she had a potential romance in this too that was kind of hinged on. So if she ever writes like a companion, I would love to get a book that follows Micah and Lance, because they were actually super fun. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I wound up giving it 4 stars. And this book comes out next week, so you should definitely go check it out. And then I wound up just picking this up because it was super short. And it's the Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. And I got this from Owl Crate a couple of months back. And I just picked it up because I wanted something quick to like read between books. Oh my god, it was so cute. The art style in this is just gorgeous. It follows this girl named, what's her name? Greta, and she lives in this world, but her and her parents are like blacksmiths. When that's a kind of like a lost art because you don't really need swords anymore, but her mom's really good at it. So she starts changing that, and then she winds up finding a tea dragon that goes missing, and then she winds up being incorporated into that world. It's just so cute. I really love the art style in this. It was a super fast-paced read. I really thought that this book had such a nice like world building. So after the story, I would highly recommend you read this back part where they talk about all the dragons. And I know that a sequel is coming out, I think in October. It's called the Tea Dragon Festival, and it comes out fall 2019. This was like a 4-star read. I really liked it, and I've been getting into more graphic novels, but this art style is so pretty. Very much in the same vein of like the Prince, The Prince and the Dressmaker was another book that I just really enjoyed. So that was my thoughts on the Tea Dragon Society. And then the next book I wound up picking up, or will be picking up shortly, I rolled contemporary for the Book Bash TBR and Beyond Challenge. I wound up picking up 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. This book is set around Christmas, and I normally don't read contemporary books during that time of year. And I love Ashley Elston, so I decided to pick this up now and dive into it. And hopefully I enjoy it. So when I make a little bit more progress, I'll probably check back in. But yeah, that's my mini update for right now. I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Guys, Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up making some progress on 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. I have to say, this book is so charming. I will say, it's like a Christmas themed contemporary, so you might be so inclined to read it during Christmas, but I just could not wait. But this book is like so fun. It basically follows this girl named Sophia, or Sophie. I never know how to say that name. But it is the start of Christmas break, and her boyfriend winds up breaking up with her like the day before the day that break starts. And she had planned to spend that break with him, but her wild and crazy family decides to set her up on 10 blind dates, and she's staying in a house with like all of her mom's brothers and sisters, which is actually so funny to me because my mom is one of 10. So the dynamics of being in that house like for holidays is so like how I grew up. So it's just so realistic and so fun. It's just all these cousins. I'm one of like 30 cousins. So that part is like super realistic and I'm really enjoying it. There's even a joke about like the youngest member not marrying, which is so true in my family as well. But yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm already like 66 pages in. I love Ashley Elston's writing. I think it's so compelling and so interesting. The first date that we read, it was just really, really fun. I'm really intrigued by it. For those that don't know, tomorrow is 4th of July. And it's also when Stranger Things drops. So I'm going to actually go see a friend of mine, Jen. We're going to go into the city. We're going to do some book shopping, maybe. Like I need to do any more book shopping. She also went to ALA, so I'm picking up a couple of books that I requested that she got from me, which she did, she was so nice and got stuff I didn't even ask for, which is awesome. And then Stranger Things drops. So my goal today is I'm going to try to watch as much as I can up until like maybe at least the end of season 1. And then I'm probably going to dive straight into season 3, and then I'll probably watch it back. But yeah, that's my plans right now. But yeah, I'm definitely update you guys when I read a little bit more. But so far, this is so fun, and I'm really enjoying it. I would definitely consider reading this like in 2020, like maybe make it one of my first reads of the year because I love to read holiday books around the holidays. I'm normally home for New Year's Eve too, so I might just read it for New Year's Eve. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I highly consider you end up checking it out when it comes out in October. But I'll definitely give you guys my full thoughts as I make a little bit more progress with it. Here, I'm back. It is July 4th. I did go into the city with my friend Jen. We met up. We visited all the bookstores, which was super nice. And she went to ALA, so she got me a bunch of books, which I'm so grateful for. So they're not unpacked yet. I honestly don't know where I'm going to put them all. But I was very happy to see her. But I did make a lot of progress on 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. I'm definitely going to finish this book. Like, right after I go this with you guys, because I'm so close to being done. This book was a joy to read. Like, I adored this book. I think it's definitely a 5-star read for me. I'm definitely going to keep it. I think it's the perfect Christmas read. It was just so much fun, and I'm really loving it. I loved all the dates. I love the family dynamics, and as someone that comes from a super large family, it's something that was super realistic to me in my life because I remember growing up in a family that size, especially having no siblings, which is what the main character is, and being really close to her cousins, and then them drifting apart, and then them getting back together. That's something that just really like struck a chord with me because it's something that happens in big families. But I loved all the dates. I really liked it. I mean, I have literally like maybe like 9 or 10 pages left. So I'm definitely going to finish this book, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm reading next. I'm also desperately want to start Stranger Things season 3. But I want to finish season 1 first because season 1 I've seen the least. And as you guys have known, I've been so far behind on all my TV shows that I wanted to watch. So I feel like for me, I should just at least finish season 1 and then go into season 3 because I don't think I can wait to watch season 2 straight away because I think I'm going to get spoiled, which I'm a little bit afraid of. But I'm definitely going to finish 10 Blind Dates, and then I'm going to move on. And when I make that choice, I'll definitely let you guys know. But I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Hello, here I'm back. Sorry for my super curly hair. I took down my braids, so my hair is super curly. It's not normally this curly, so don't mind my curliness. But I did wind up finishing 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. It's actually a super cute read. It was like a great holiday read. I definitely recommend you save this for like a December read. But I really enjoyed it. I think that this book was just such a joy. I said it before, but it does have a big family, and I'm from a big extended family. I thought all the dates were super fun. I love the family dynamics. I love the friendship dynamics, and I love the romance. There was nothing I didn't like about this book. I really, really love the family in this book. I think it was so fun, very reminiscent of my own life, which I thought was so perfect. But yeah, I did wind up finishing this. Then I did wind up finishing season 3 of Stranger Things. I will not spoil you here. But boy, was it good. I definitely am going to have to rewatch. I think I'm going to go back to the season 1 and watch straight through, which is going to take me a while. But I'm really, really enjoyed it. I won't talk spoilers because it just came out yesterday. But overall, it was such a fun read. I love Millie Bobby Brown as Eleven so much, and I just was super impressed. I definitely am going to try to read the Stranger Things novels. That's going to be my next list I'm going to try to tackle while they're on their longer hiatus. I think I have to read 3 right now because there's 3 that are out. And I'm really hoping we get a book with the kids, like all the kids. I know that one just came out with Max. But I would love to see other books about those characters. I got some cute Funkos from them. Some are behind me and some are in my bags. But yeah, so that was actually super exciting. And then, I don't know where the cover is, but I started reading The Camelot Code, The Once and Future Geek. And right now, I just started it, and you get 3 different point of views, but you basically follow this girl named Sophie, and she's obsessed with this game called The Camelot Code, or The Camelot, which is all about King Arthur, and then the other perspective is Sophie's best friend, who is that they wind up gaming together, and then the next point of view you get is the soon-to-be King Arthur in this fantasy land. And the first thing is now that Sophie has been sent back to the past. And that's all that I know so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's super cute. And I'm about 74 pages in. I'm definitely going to watch some more Stranger Things tonight and get some more reading done. So as I get updates, I will be sure to do that. But yeah, if you have not watched Stranger Things, highly recommend it. It's definitely, I would say it's more creepy and more scary, and it's more gory this season too, which I don't always love, but I definitely did enjoy this season, so you should definitely go watch. And I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Lori here. I'm back. It is Saturday. I spent the whole entire day outside the house, and I was reading a lot because we were getting our bathroom redone, so I couldn't be in the house. But good news. I don't think I talked about this. But I did wind up starting and finishing The Camelot Code, The Once and Future Geek by Mari Makouzi. I wound up reading this because my friend wound up getting me an arc of the second book from ALA, so I needed to read it. But oh my god, this book was so freaking cute. Like, it was just a gem. I really loved Merlin, the TV show, which is like an Arthurian tale. And this book just was so fun. It definitely reminded me of like Percy Jackson, or Harry Potter, because it was a very like easy read. Like, it was a very, very fast paced read. Probably more like Lightning Thief, I think. But it basically followed these 3 characters. You get, I think it's Sophie. Yeah, you got Sophie, Stu, and Arthur. Arthur is the person who's going to become King Arthur. You have Sophie, who's a girl who's from the real world, and Stu is her best friend. And they wind up having to go on this adventure. And it's just so fun. I loved all the point of views. There was time traveling involved. I normally love time traveling novels when it's done correctly and their behavior has consequences. But I really like this book. I thought that it was such a fun interpretation of the myth. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. I love the Merlin character. I loved how we had stories both set in the medieval world and then also in like the modern day. I thought that the elements of the story that we had that like were very, very representative of the Arthurian myth was super fun. And if kids were to read this book and go back and see the myths, because they do tell you like what the myths are in this, so it was so well crafted. I like flew through this book, and I really am excited for book 2, which I'm definitely going to read soon. But this book was just really, really cute. It had elements of gaming in it, which I think is super popular in today's world, especially with Fortnite being so popular. But yeah, I just really loved the characters. I love the point of views. I was really impressed by it. And I really, really liked it. I wound up giving this book like 4 stars, and I cannot wait to read the second book. And then the next book I wound up picking up was just another library pick that I wound up getting, was The Unicorn in the Barn by Jacqueline K. Ogburn, I think. This was also a former Owl Crate Junior pick, like from like a while ago, but I finally wound up picking it up. This book has super big print and pictures. I'm now on page 128. I would love to tackle the rest of this tonight. It's a super fast read. Basically follows this guy named Eric, and his dad winds up selling half their land to this veterinarian. And one night he's kind of outside watching thing, and he sees a unicorn kind of walk past his house. He winds up following the unicorn and realizes that this vet also takes care of magical creatures. He winds up getting a job, and he's working with her. He's also dealing with some stuff with his grandmother, who has been put into a nursing home, and this unicorn kind of becomes his friend. I'm really loving this book. I'm flying through it. There's also a girl named Allegra, who is the vet's daughter that is dealing with a lot of stuff as well. But it's just a really, really fun read. The reason this print is massive, so it's definitely like more of a kid's book. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope to tackle the rest of this tonight. Or not tonight, tomorrow. But yeah, that's my thoughts on what I've been reading so far. It's been so lovely having all this time off and not really doing anything school related. I know that's going to end shortly when I have to start thinking about next year, but I'm definitely enjoying my breaks. I'm also in the middle of rewatching all of Stranger Things, which is another thing that I'm in the middle of doing, which I hope to make some progress on today. Honestly, I hope to sack down a couple more episodes, but I am going to go and I'm going to watch a couple of episodes on Hulu right now while I'm able to read, and once I'm done with that, I will definitely be back to give you guys another update. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I'm back. It is Sunday. It is just almost 1. And last night I did wind up finishing The Unicorn in the Barn by Jacqueline K. Oberg. I actually did finish this because, as I said, I ran through it. I thought this book was so well done. I definitely gave it like a 3.5 star read. It definitely was very, very simplistic, I'll say that. But I liked how it dealt with like issues that you don't always see in books. Like it dealt with like, guns and shooting, which I thought was really interesting, but not in like a violent way. There was elements of that, but it was more about like shooting like in like a country, which I thought was interesting. But I really did like this. I thought that the presence of the magical creatures were really, really interesting. I liked how this book ended. I thought that it could definitely leave it open for like a sequel. I loved how the magic system had rules, really simple rules that I think kids could be able to follow that made simple sense. And I just really love the main character. You don't always get books, and I've said this before, I've said this like a lot before, but you don't always get books that's set only in a male perspective. There's always like a female co-perspective, so it's very, very rare do you get a guy perspective, which I always look for in my literature because I grew up part of the Harry Potter and the Percy Jackson dynamic, so I was very into always being in like a guy's head, and now I'm always in a girl's head. So I always look for books that have a male point of view, and especially when I give books out to my students, a lot of the students that I work with are boys and they love to read, so I try to give them as even balance as I can. So this would actually be a great book for them. But yeah, I wound up really enjoying it, and I wound up giving it like 3.5, 4 stars. And I would definitely check out more books by her in the future. I know she writes a lot of like feature books, but I would be curious to see if she has any more young adult or middle grade out. And then going along with my TBR and Beyond Reading Challenge, I wound up picking up If I'm Being Honest, because I rolled a new release by Emily Webberly and Austin Sigmund Broca. I think I read Always Never Yours in May or June. I can't remember when I read it, but I know that I gave it to one of my students, so it must have been May or June. But it's like a companion book. But basically, the first book was followed Romeo and Juliet as the story. This follows Taming of the Shrew. It follows this girl named Cameron, and she is very popular. That's the girl she is, but everyone always says she's very honest, and they always call her a bitch. She doesn't really mind being called a bitch because she knows that that's her personality. But when the boy she likes suddenly calls her that, it kind of turns her on a head, and she goes on an adventure or a self-discovery to make herself a better person so this guy will like her. Basically what happens in Taming of the Shrew. I'm literally only like 58 pages in, but I really love books that focus on self-discovery, and I really love their first book. So I'm hopeful that this book has a very similar result, and I'll be sure to give you guys my thoughts as I read it. But yeah, I'm going to also do a bunch of filming for you guys today. That's my plan, to catch up on Instagram and then hopefully get back to reading. I'm also in the middle of reading while watching three shows if you count Stranger Things. I'm watching Stranger Things, Agent Carter, and Veronica Mars because the Veronica Mars reboot series is coming out in like 2 weeks, and I felt super far behind on my rewatchable podcasts. Talk about them a while back. But yeah, so overall, I've actually been having a really, really nice weekend. Today was the first day that I really started sorting through all my textbooks for next year and started thinking, what do I want to read or plan for next year? So that was like the first step. Tomorrow will be a bigger step, and then I'll slowly get back into planning. But I'm not going to focus all my attention on that because I still think that teachers deserve a break. But I will start getting steadily back into the planning process. And I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. It's Lily here. I'm back. It's Monday, and I'm so excited to start a new week. But yeah, so I did actually make some progress on If I'm Being Honest by Emily Webberly and Austin Sigmund Broca. This book is really interesting to me because it starts out with a premise of Cameron, who's the lead character. She's a very I would say she's a very tough character, or she has very, very strong opinions, and she winds up she's always called a bitch. Everyone calls her a bitch. Everyone thinks she's very, very honest. And she normally doesn't mind, but when the guy she likes and has a crush on says that to her, it kind of sends her in like a tailspin because she wants to prove to him that that's not her. So she goes upon this mission as she's reading The Tempest in class. So she's going to basically turn herself into Cat, and she's going to try to change herself. But I'm really intrigued to see if she winds up with Andrew at the end of this book, because I don't know if she would. I don't know if they're going to pull a fast one and have her wind up with a different character. But I'm really liking all the dynamics between them. I think it's really interesting. She's becoming friends with different people. They also had a really cool bookstore in this, and they talk about cosplaying, and they talk about Rocky Horror Picture Show. So it's just really, really fun. I'm just curious to see if it's going to go in a traditional rom-com way and she's going to end up with Andrew, or if it's going to go in a totally different direction. Because I'm about 100 pages in and I'm still unsure of which direction the book is trying to tell me it's going to go. So I'm definitely intrigued, and I really do like Cameron as the main character. She's actually super interesting because she lives with her mom, who's a single mom. Her dad is kind of not in her life, but he gives her money to pay for her school, and her mom is not the best person at holding a job. Cameron's determined to follow in her dad's footsteps and be an econ major and go to Wharf. But she has an underlying love of being a graphic designer and working on websites. And that's kind of her passion, but she always puts it to the side. She's like, oh, that's not something I want to do because of XYZ, because she wants to be so much like her dad. So yeah, I'm really liking this book. I'm definitely a lot different than If Always Never Yours, because that was a pure romance. You knew what you were getting. This is a little bit more of an interesting plot and interesting premise, so I'm definitely going to try to read more of it today. I hope the rain goes away so I can finally go for my bike ride, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'll definitely update you guys more on what I accomplished today. So see you guys later. Bye. I have woken up and I have gone for a bike ride, but I actually did make a lot more progress on If I'm Being Honest. I'm now on page 168. I'm really liking this book. I think it's a very different story from Always Never Yours, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving the main character, and I love how she's conflicted because she's dealing with a lot of things that I think seniors in high schools often deal with. I know that a lot of my friends dealt with this, deciding what you wanted versus what your parents want, and that's always a hard sell, especially when she has a really, really bad relationship with her father, but she's still craving his approval. But I'm really convinced that it's gonna go, the romance might be the way that I want it to go, which I'm really excited about. But I'm really loving how you always see in books how sometimes characters change dramatically at the end, and their actions at the end seem like they have changed. But the one thing I'm really liking about this book is you're literally seeing her work through it. You're seeing her work through all these changes, and I'm really liking that. And she's kind of acknowledging oh my god, my friends are evil. My friends can be a bitch at points, so can I. So I'm really liking that. But I'm really loving the Brendan character. I think he's just so fun, and I'm really enjoying it. But then again, I'm also liking Andrew because he's kind of is almost becoming like her moral compass. So I'm really liking this book, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm hoping I'm gonna read a little bit more of it today. But yeah, I'll definitely check back in when I make some more progress, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Guys, just checking back in. I did wind up finishing If I'm Being Honest by Emily Beverly and Austin Sigmund Broca. This book was quite fun. I just so loved it, and I'm not going to give you guys spoilers. You're going to have to read it, but this book was perfect. I love characters that change throughout reading, and I think sometimes in contemporary books it's kind of hard to like do, but this book was perfect. I loved how this book used the elements of Shakespeare in a different way. In their first novel, it was a play. This was a class, which I actually really enjoyed. I love the romance in this book, and I was so happy with it. I think the friendship dynamics in this book was such a highlight. I think that sometimes the friends that you have really change who you are as a person, and I really loved Cameron's path through this book. I thought it was so realistic, and I just loved her. I thought her family dynamics were so interesting, and I was so captivated by that. I think her relationship with her father was so heartbreaking to me, like the way that their relationship played out. I thought that her mother's dynamic was super interesting. This book was so good. I loved the cameo from the characters in Always Never Yours. It was perfect. I just really love this book so much. I'm definitely gonna probably wind up, maybe I'm probably might wind up keeping this if none of the kids at my school want it. But it was just so well done. So well done. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna go pick my next book and then I'll come back on. But this book was so good. Definitely a 5-star read for me. Um, I really loved it. I don't want to spoil the romance because I think it's something that you guys should read for yourself. But I really did like the romance. There was a bunch of characters in this that could potentially have been her romantic interest, but I was super happy with how it turned out, and I just really enjoyed it. So if you haven't, I would definitely read Always Never Yours first, because then you could follow the cameo that happens. But it was a very strong read, and I'm very excited to read their next book next year. I think it's If We Go Forth, I think it's called, and I don't know what story that's based on, but I'm definitely going to be checking it out. And I really love this pair of authors so much. They definitely are probably one of my favorite pairs that I met this year so far, and I'm really enjoying their writing. Larry here. I'm here to check back in. I actually am going to end this reading vlog because it's right around 30 minutes, and I think that that's nice content for you guys. But this was like such a fun, relaxing reading week. I actually got a lot of reading done and a lot of listening done, which I was so excited with. So thank you guys for tagging along on my reading adventures. I'm going to start another reading vlog right when I finish this one. But I will talk to you guys for my next reading vlog. Bye.